Good afternoon. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Make sure you check out the podcast, netnewsnetwork.net, full of great talk show hosts. I'm going to tell you, I love listening to them. They're very, very thorough and very truthful. So you can get the right news by going to netnewsnetwork.net. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about adoption. There is a checklist found from Human Resources, dhr.alabama.gov, and these are pretty much well accredited in all 50 states. So it's a checklist, and I wanted to go over this because I've had some questions about that, about adoption. You know, some people have sent questions and made comments, remarks that, you know, I would like to adopt, but it seems like a really lengthy process. Do you know how this process works? And because they've heard me talk about my daughter-in-law, who is actually from Russia originally, was brought here when she was about 9 years old. So there is a process you have to go through. I'm pretty sure it's a little bit more extensive than it was back when she was brought here. But this is a guide for you and your family on the adoption process. So let's talk about this for a few minutes. Let's talk about the definition of adoption. It's the legal and social process by which a child born to one set of parents becomes the child of another parent or parents. The decision to adopt is a very important one and should be based on clear and accurate information. The Department of Human Resources has the responsibility of securing adoptive homes for children in foster care who become available for adoption through termination of parental rights. So according to the website, dhr.alabama.gov, again, your state will probably have something extremely similar to this. We want to make your adoption as smooth and as efficient as possible. That's why they're providing this adoption checklist. This is for you to keep handy while your family goes through the adoption process. It'll also help you to plan ahead and know what steps would be next, and the helpful hints on making your transition from applicant to adoptive parent less complicated and rewarding. Okay, so let's talk about step number 1, meeting the adoption requirements. Okay, so your willingness and your commitment to being a parent, as well as your ability to love and rear a child who has needs, and you're always the main requirement to successfully adopt a child. However, there are specific basic requirements that each adoptive parent must meet. First of all, you got to be over 15 years old, okay? If you're married, marriage must be of at least 3 years duration. If a married couple, at least one needs to be a United States citizen. You must have adequate housing and personal space for the child or the children adopted. You must be healthy enough to meet a child's needs. And then the last bullet point, you must be willing to undergo a thorough background check, including criminal history. Okay, so all of that is step number 1. Let's go into step number 2, the application. Okay, you got to submit the application. So after you've read the information regarding adoption and you feel that adoption is something in which you and your family are deeply committed, you should complete the online inquiry form. Or you can call 1-866, the number 4AL KIDS, KIDS. Okay? At your request, an adoption application to adopt will be mailed to you. After completion, you will return the application to the County Department of Human Resources at the address that is provided for you. Okay, number 3, let's talk about trauma-informed partnering for permanence and safety. These are kids we're talking about here. After your application to adopt is received, you'll be contacted about attending trauma-informed partnering for performance and safety. That's TIPS meetings. And the TIPS is a program designed specifically to educate potential adoptive and foster parent families on a variety of pertinent topics for their upcoming adoption experience. Topics covered in TIPS meetings include discussion of the children available, the impact may have on your family, behavior management techniques, separation and loss issues, and more. This preparation program will consist of 10 meetings totaling 30 classroom hours. Now, in addition, the social worker will schedule a time to interview you and other family members in your home. For the TIPS meeting, a mutual selection will help you and your family decide if adoption is right for you, what type of child will best fit in your family, and assist you in assessing your family's strengths and needs. Let's go on to step number 4, your approval as an adoptive resource. Once you complete your family profile and home study, this information will be assessed and evaluated, and a determination made on your application as an adoptive resource. You will receive correspondence from your County Department of Human Resources confirming your approval. The time between approval and placement can vary significantly depending on the child or the children who are available and the characteristic of the child or children you're willing to consider. You will receive a copy of the Waiting Children's newsletter, which features some of the children in need of adoptive parents. Now remember this, the more you pinpoint this, the longer it's going to take for the adoption process. Step 5, background information and pre-placement visits. Okay, adoptive placements are made by the State Office of Adoption. Once you're selected as a potential resource for a child or children, you'll be given the opportunity to review background information. Questions and concerns you have about the information will be addressed. If you decide you may be able to parent the child or children offered, you will meet the children in pre-placement visits. After pre-placement visits, the decision to move forward will allow the child or children to be placed in your home upon the signing of a placement agreement. Now, I also wanted to point this out. As time goes by, I'm pretty sure there are going to be modifications to this legalization form right here, okay? I would check back often because, things happen, things are voted on, they're voted against, whatever, when it comes to the government. So you really do need to make sure that you're up on all the terms. You also need to make sure you know of any changes that are going to be happening in adopting a child. Number 6, legal action. Now, after a child has been placed successfully in your home for at least 3 months, the next step in the adoption process is the sanction by the court system that the child is legally your own. The social worker will give you the department's consent to adopt, so you may begin the legal process in the probate court. An attorney is not always required, and this is the county probate court's discretion. Okay, number 7, let's talk about adoption. It's a lifelong process, just like having your own child by birth. The legal confirmation of your adoption is not at the end, but rather the beginning of the experience that's unique. There will be exciting times and there may be challenges. Alabama Post-Adoption Connections, the APAC, is available to you and your family on your journey. Now, libraries offering books, videos, and other sources of material, adoptive family groups, you need to plug into a good family group, buddy family mentors, trained therapist network, a toll-free warm line for information and referral, and camperships are but a few of the ways APAC provides support, education, and empowerment to the adoption community. You can contact APAC at 1-866-803-2722. Again, that number is 866-803-2722. Let's go into a commercial break, and we are going to return in just a few minutes, so you hang in there. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462. Okay, we're back. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire. Don't forget the podcast, netnewsnetwork.net. You'll find some exciting talk show hosts there. It's a real fun podcast, and I love being part of it. We've been talking about the adoption process. So you think you might want to adopt, and so we went through the Alabama adoption page site to give you some ideas. So now I decided to go ahead and veer you at the last part of this show, and this is a good website if you're thinking about adoption. It's called AmericanAdoptions.com. AmericanAdoptions.com. So let's talk about the domestic adoption process. This is a complete guide on how this works. There are 6 steps to adopt a baby to a new family and why they matter. Now, the adoption process is beautiful because you can change your life and give a baby the loving family they deserve. And who doesn't love a baby? Keep reading all the information you knew about domestic adoption process, and we talked about that just a little bit earlier in the show. But whether you're a hopeful parent or prospective birth parent, the adoption process can be one of the most amazing things you'll ever do. And from what I know of my friends who have adopted, it takes some patience. It can happen quicker than you think, or it can happen much later than you think. It's really going to depend on what your requirements for a child are. Okay, so if you say, I want a child that's this color, I want it to have blue eyes, that may slow down the process a bit. So just remember that, okay? The more descriptive you are about the child you would like to raise, it's going to take longer. Okay, step number 1, decide what adoption is right for you. So there are different adoptions. So how can you know if adoption is right for you? Just look at your life and dream of not only your future, but the future of the child, because there's going to be a child involved here. It's not all about you, because it's going to have a child, but the future of the child. What do you see? How do you get there? Okay, you may come to an adoption and decide after a painful struggle with infertility, or perhaps you feel a sense of calling. Something you always knew you would like to do, but one thing that unites all hopeful parents is that they want nothing more than to provide a loving family for a child. Okay, women who are considering adoption for their babies always want the same thing, to provide a loving family and a bright future for their child. And I'll have to tell you, women who give up their children for adoption, you're heroes to me. I know you don't hear that often, but you really are. If you just feel like you can't raise a child, or you just don't want to, but you want the child to have a good life, you're a hero. You most certainly are. And you can just remember that, okay? Okay, the one thing that unites all hopeful families is knowing they can provide a loving family. Women who are looking for a good family for the children, if you're that woman considering an infant adoption process, you're not giving up at all. You're making a brave, loving decision. Yes, you are. And so this is what someone said. This is a quote. I knew that what I was going to do in placing in Charlotte for adoption was 100% out of love. Lindsay is a birth mom who worked with American Adoption, said, I loved her so much that I had to be selfless. She just didn't feel like she was going to be a good mother. We can provide you with the services according to this website, AmericanAdoptions.com. The services you deserve on your journey to give a child a life full of love and opportunity. If that's what you want, then you can start your newborn adoption process now. Again, I'm giving you the website, AmericanAdoptions.com. AmericanAdoptions.com. Okay, now choosing an adoption professional for your adoption process. The adoption process can be beautiful. It can also be very long and complicated. You deserve to have the best adoption experience that only happens when you work with a great adoption agency. Now, when Erica, this is a quote, when Erica, a real person, a brave birth mom who placed her baby for adoption, looks back at her process, there's one thing she said that really stood out to her. Even though adoption was the hardest decision she said she'd ever made in her life, American Adoptions made it the best decision that she'd ever made in her life. So American Adoptions can be your adoptive agency. They've been serving prospective birth parents for over 12,000 families. Now let's talk about step number 3. Find the perfect adoption match to create your best future. But you got to think about more of the future of the child. Cassidy knew that adoption was the best way to respond for her unplanned pregnancy, but she was worried. She said she was worried she would not find anyone that she really loved. I was looking for parents that could see my own parents in, and that I could see myself in, and my values. What Cassidy experienced is something that you can experience too. It's a new type of relationship, and it's normal to feel nervous at first, but finding the right adoptive opportunity means moving from fear to hope as you realize the possibilities that exist for everyone involved in the adoption. Together you can empower each other and create a better future for the baby. So here's how this part of the adoption process works. Okay, first, a prospective birth parent sits down with an adoptive specialist. She lays out her hopes and dreams for her baby and starts coming up with a picture of what type of family would be best. Second, the adoptive parents make a profile full of photos, letters, and even a video. So as the adoptive family, this is your chance to share your hopes and dreams about the types of family you will be and the type of life you'll provide for a child. Third, the prospective birth mother will look through as many of these profiles as she needs till she finds the right family. When she thinks she's found her baby's parents, she tells her adoptive specialist, who just takes it from there. Now, many birth parents like Cassie have found that the best way to make sure their child has the life they want them to have is by setting their expectations pretty high. And they're pretty much going for the perfect opportunity for their child. Step number 4, get to know each other before placement. Open adoption may seem intimidating at first, but it's the norm in domestic infant adoption today. You can learn more by checking out a particular link on AmericanAdoptions.com. Now, when Sarah became unexpectedly pregnant after already raising 2 boys, she knew that parenting a 3rd child wouldn't be an option. With the help of her specialist at American Adoptions, Sarah found the perfect parents for her baby, and she began the process of getting to know them through pre-placement contract. Okay, now each time, she said, we would meet, each time we would talk, we would realize that we were more like each other than we were different. She said they were the ones, it wasn't a doubt about that. You got to have that connection, okay? Now, that wonderful connection is something you can experience too through pre-placement contact. There's a period during the adoption process after a match is made that you have the opportunities to get to know one another, and your specialist will help to make things go smoother. Now, you can participate in one of the following forms of contact during the process of adoption. And I would do all 3. So one is a conference call. An adoption specialist meditated conference call between adoptive parents and the birth parents. Number 2 would be an ongoing contact. Depending on everyone's comfort level, the potential birth parents and the adoptive parents can choose to have continued email exchanges, phone calls, text messages, conversations, and more prior to placement. It's a good idea if you can make it happen. Kids need to feel loved. And I would say yes on that, if it's a good fit. Meeting during the placement. Now, the adoptive family will travel to the hospital where the birth takes place. That'd be awesome to witness. And they may interact with the birth parents upon placement. You can always connect with the adoption professional and get more information by going again to this website, AmericanAdoptions.com. And number 5, complete the hospital stay with all the support you need. The hospital stay is, in many ways, the accumulation of the adoption journey. With heightened emotions and the knowledge of your life about to change forever, this might be the part of the child adoption process that you're most worried about. That's totally understandable. Labor and delivery can be daunting. Yeah, I was in labor 26 hours. I definitely remember that. But one great thing about that adoption process is that it ensures you will have the support you need. When you're a woman placing a baby for adoption, this puts you in control of what happens at the hospital, and your adoption specialist will be there to guide you every step of the way. The adoption specialist will also coordinate with the adoptive parents so that everyone will be on the same page. They'll protect you, support you, and do everything. You're a real human, and you are definitely a hero, by the way. Sometime after the baby is born, the prospective birth parents can complete the legal paperwork with the specialist, and you're going to have an attorney on hand with you as well. Now, number 6, let's talk about how to finalize the adoption and begin that bright future. When Candace first learned of her unplanned pregnancy, it felt like a whole world was crashing in on her. The idea of a better future for herself and her baby felt impossible. But now, after coming to this organization, she says, I know my son has a huge family who loves and cares so much for him. She said, I am forever thankful for that. Jeff and Amanda saved my baby's life. Adoption is an amazing process. When a woman chooses adoption, she's doing something heroic. Yes, you are. For the family, it's an opportunity to fulfill a lifelong dream. And for the child, it's the promise of a full life of a loving family. Now, the last step of the process of adopting a child for the family is called finalization, which is a legal proceeding that you can learn more about in a guide found on this website, AmericanAdoptions.com. Now, once the finalization hearing is finished, the adoptive family is granted legal custody of the child and awarded the adoption decree, and the legal domestic adoption process is complete, but the journey isn't over. For the birth mother, the family, and the child, the last step is the first step for the rest of their lives. When you're a prospective birth parent, you can watch your child become the person they were always meant to be. And when you're an adoptive parent, you can build and maintain an important connection for yourself and your child through an open adoption relationship. After the legal adoption process ends, nearly all birth parents are interested in receiving ongoing updates about their child. I mean, who wouldn't? And nearly all adoptive professionals in the United States encourage this correspondence. Now, they're here to support everyone in both parties, okay, the person who is adopting the child and the person who gave birth to the child. So if you would like to get started, let me go ahead and give you this website again. It's AmericanAdoptions.com, AmericanAdoptions.com. You need to check them out. Go to the Better Business Bureau as well. Make sure everything is on the up and up. Now, here's the disclaimer. Information available through these links is the sole property of the companies and organizations listed therein. So American Adoptions Incorporated provides this information as a courtesy and is in no way responsible for the content or the accuracy. I just think this is a cool thing, and I've always said this. So you decide that, you don't want to get the abortion, but it's an unexpected pregnancy, and you just really, really feel like you can't make it happen in a child's life. You're a hero. It's definitely are. So go ahead and try. This is not the only website. There are other websites out there as well, but now do a thorough background check on this company. Again, go to the Better Business Bureau, and you'll see if there are complaints. Check, and World Wide Web is full of information. So just go ahead and check all of this out and have a better life for your baby. And again, I think you're a hero. Thank you so much for watching The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182, on Charter Communications, Abundant Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You're awesome. You really are. You can also find us on the podcast, netnewsnetwork.net. Thank you for watching.